Hello, everybody, and welcome to IGTV. This is our updated segment with Keith O'Brien coming to us on our IGTV network here. And Keith, okay, there we go. We've got you in the background now. You're live on the program. And welcome, all right? Welcome back. And this is our special on IPv6. All right, why don't you get into a little bit of what's going on and update everybody about the June 6th launch. We've got about 30 days, and we're beginning the countdown.
Yes, thanks, Joe. So, I wanted to give everyone an update on what's going on with the IPv6 launch, and then also go down to the next level of details. What does the launch really mean, technically? What does it mean that these players, the content providers, and the service providers are participating in this launch? So I put together two slides that hopefully will give a little bit of information, and then I guess we can plug it right now, Joe.
Yeah.
For more information, I'm going to be giving probably about a 2.5 hour talk at an upcoming InfraGard meeting in July at the Cisco Penn Plaza office. So it's July 11th. We're going to start at 9 o'clock. The address is Cisco, 1 Penn Plaza, 9th floor. On July 11th. So there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a pretty detailed talk on just IPv6 technology. So if people aren't familiar with IPv6, it'd be a good place to start out. And then I'm going to finish up probably with a half hour to an hour of security issues as it relates to IPv6. So that'll be on July 11th at the Cisco office at Penn Plaza in New York City.
Hey Keith, I've got a question for you. You know, you had listed during the first segment on IPv6 a number of the different companies participating. Are there any new additions?
There is. There's a notable new addition, and that's Netflix. And let me just put up the slide here. I think that would be it's a good segue.
Okay.
Share my screen. Okay, so you should see that, the World IPv6 launch. So again, just as a refresher, it's happening on June 6th, 2012. The idea of World IPv6 launch is last year, we had it around the same time frame in June of 2011. And last year was more of, let's turn on IPv6 on our subscriber networks, within ISP networks, and then also content providers. Let's see how it works. Let's let it soak for 24 hours, and then let's turn it back off. This year, it's the launch, meaning that we're going to turn on IPv6 across many content websites and also within residential and commercial ISPs and leave it on. So this is hence the branding of launch day. So we mentioned a few players that were already announced last month when we had this same session. A notable addition, and they're actually, there's literally, if you go on to the World IPv6 launch page, this is just a sampling of some of the major players that I pulled out, but there's a list, it's growing upwards of the thousands of different websites, large and small, universities, so on and so forth, that are participating in the launch. But the main one, the new addition that's pretty notable, is Netflix. A lot of people don't know that during primetime hours in the US at least, Netflix accounts for a pretty large chunk of internet traffic. On some days it can approach 30 to 40% of the traffic on tier 1 backbones. And if you look like in a cable provider network, like in a Comcast network or a Time Warner, it can approach that level of utilization just for Netflix streaming. So the fact that they're launching their service over IPv6 on June 6, 2012 is pretty significant, considering that they are a pretty good chunk of the internet traffic during primetime hours. So that's a notable addition. And I'm sure as we get closer to June 6th, there are going to be more and more players.
Go ahead.
Ones that are being announced, and webpage for more information, worldipv6launch.org. But what I wanted to do today is talk about what does it really mean that we're launching? What really is happening behind the scenes? So I put together this slide as a quick overview of what this launch day means. In the context, we'll choose Facebook. Just because they're a pretty popular website. So if we have on the lower left-hand corner that machine down there would represent your laptop, your iPad, whatever it may be in your house. And that machine, if let's say you're a Comcast subscriber or a Time Warner subscriber, and if you're, and this is just a quick aside, I mean, Time Warner and Comcast, they are not turning up their entire network on June 6th. They're going to be portions of their network that are going to be IPv6 enabled, and they're going to slowly start ramping that up faster and faster as the year finishes out. So, but if you're in one of their markets that um, is handing out IPv6 addresses, what your machine in your house is going to have both a V6 and a V4 IP address. Now, on June 6th, what's going to happen is websites like Facebook, when you do a DNS lookup, a domain name server lookup for www.facebook.com, and you're trying to find out what the IP address of that domain name is, normally before June 6th, you would get a single answer back from DNS, which is called just an A record. You see that in the first entry there. And normally you would get, and this is actually one of Facebook's IP addresses, 69.171.242.11. So if you did that today, that's what you would get, and your machine would connect to Facebook using this this address. Now, on June 6th, what Facebook is going to do is make changes in their DNS so that if you have a machine in your house that has the capability of both IPv4 and IPv6, they're going to answer back with two answers. They're going to answer back with an IPv4 address and an IPv6 address. And what will occur is if you have a modern operating system like Windows 7, OS 10, or Linux, the newer variants, your machine should prefer IPv6 over IPv4. So if your machine gets two answers, here is an IPv4 address and here's an IPv6 address, your operating system and or your browser should prefer IPv6 over IPv4, and you'll connect to Facebook using IPv6. And that really is what's happening behind the scenes on that launch day. So this is when Google and Facebook and another big one is Akamai. I know we use Akamai just within InfraGard, Joe, but Akamai is a pretty large content provider in the internet. So they're also participating on IPv6 launch day. So any content that you may be pulling from even IGTV, I guess if we're hosting anything on Akamai, that video content should be IPv6 enabled. So we'll have to try that and look into it, but I don't see why not. Even any video that we're hosting on Akamai should be accessible over IPv6. What's all happening on that day. And it's not really just happening that day. That's the day when officially everyone's going to start. It's already kind of started to occur. I've noticed, for example, Google Drive, which was announced last week, they're already using IPv6. If you have IPv6 connectivity, you can connect to G Drive, Google Drive using IPv6. So certainly it's already starting to happen. It'll start accelerating on June 6th and after June 6th. And the idea is that it's just going to continue to accelerate after June 6th. So, if you don't have V6 connectivity in your house on June 6th, and let's say you're a Comcast or a Time Warner subscriber, they certainly are going to continue and accelerate their rollouts of IPv6 as the year finishes out. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, Joe. And let me get my video back here. And like I said, I know that we had a lot of questions about more technical explanation. I don't really know a lot about IPv6. Can you help me out? What should I be asking my vendors as far as support with IPv6? And really, for that, that's the target of our July 11th meeting at Cisco. I'm going to go through all of that, give a mini training class on IPv6, and certainly if you want to come up to speed quickly on IPv6, I encourage you to attend that.
Yeah, it sounds good, Keith. Bring us all. Yep, there you go. You're getting us all the way back now. There we go. All right, so it sounds pretty interesting, very exciting, quite frankly. Coming from the ISP point of view, coming from Netflix, which I had no idea they actually almost own 30 30 to 40% of the traffic at night. Wow, that is an amazing detail. All right, and we certainly look forward to hearing more from you and a technical presentation in July 11th.
Great. Look forward to it, Joe.
All right, everybody, we're going to be at Cisco Systems over at One Penn Plaza, July 11th, and that'll start around 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm not going to want to miss this. All right, IPv6, it's here. All right, Keith, thanks
Joe.
a bunch. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye.